Hello, my name is Sean Ennis, and thank you for joining me once again here at the Creative Collective. And today I'm honored to be joined by a very special guest. She is the lead singer of the band Across the Board from Toronto, Jackie Auguste.
Hi there, Sean. Thanks for having me on this show.
Yes, it is a pleasure. So I want to start out with talking about your band Across the Board. Can you kind of take us through how you guys came together?
Sure. Our band was founded by my husband and myself. My husband is Andy. He's our bass player. I'm the lead singer and songwriter in the band. I play guitar. We started out doing YouTube videos, cover videos, back in about 2013, 2014, and started to gain a following on YouTube. And from that process of learning how to become a YouTuber, we branched out over to Twitter and Instagram and a vlog and a blog. And then by about 2016, we had close to 100 videos on YouTube. We thought, well, now what's our music like? We had some fans asking us what our original music would be like, and we hadn't honestly written any yet. So all these influences, all these songs we love, we're all musicians, we all write, but we'd never written for the band. So we gathered ourselves together and we wrote our first album called Jane on Fire. And Jane on Fire was released on my birthday, June 14th on 2016. And that became the very first impetus to get out and start playing live, to get out of the internet box. And so we gathered the rest of our band together. We gathered our keys player, Marty Heller. Then we had a different drummer, but our drummer now, Ryan Souza, Ben Healy, our guitarist, and a couple more singers, Tash and Chazelle, and we started playing live. And then since then, we've produced 4 more albums, and we've played live all over Canada.
Wow, that is incredible. So did I hear you right that you have somewhere around or over 100 videos on YouTube?
Right now we've got 600 plus videos on YouTube. At the time that we actually got out of the internet box and started playing live, we had about 100. We've got 600 plus videos now. It's probably closer to 650 now since I last looked. And that's a combination of different projects. We do a daily vlog, a behind the scenes daily vlog. We did a kitchen series where we were doing a musical cooking show. We do a carpool karaoke series in our band van, which we call Caravan Karaoke. We do an acoustic jam session, which is other artists who we invite as friends to come. We do live feeds that we save to YouTube and to Facebook and Instagram. We also have our cover series, Pick Up and Play, and then all of our original music videos, from behind-the-scenes stuff to acoustic versions to lyric videos to the actual full-on music video for our original stuff. So there's lots up there. You can fall down a pretty deep rabbit hole.
You know, that work ethic and being able to create that much content on YouTube is just so admirable, and I wish a lot more musicians were taking advantage of the platform like Across the Board is.
It's tough if you're not a YouTube personality doing the cinnamon challenges and collaborating with the big YouTube people and doing all the controversy and the antics and the podcast stuff. As musicians, we'll try not to be gimmicky. We're just trying to give you our content, have fun, and do music. And so it's a bit of a slower go, because as musicians it can be tough to gather a following. A lot of people like to watch the latest buzz on the Kardashians more than they like to listen to new music. So it's a challenge. But what we've been doing is trying to create projects that are interesting, other than just singing a song with our guitar online. We just did a Red Hot Chili Pepper challenge, for example, was our most recent video that we put out. It goes with how long we could stick singing a Red Hot Chili Peppers song. We chose the other side. We made it to about a minute and a half before we all died. But that, we're just creating our own musical challenges just to mix it up a bit with the karaoke's and having guests on, and we do a little bit of antics, but you're going to find a lot of good old-fashioned music videos there too.
Now, one thing that I was really impressed with, and I'd like you to talk about, is the pick up and play playlist.
Yeah. So pick up and play is how we started. That was our basic YouTube claim to fame. And the brief behind it was that we would get together, our band plus or minus guests, often guests. We would pick a song on Thursday, give people 2 days to familiarize themselves with the song. The song could be a new release, it could be the anniversary of something, it could be a recently dead, artist, just something that was in the news or something notable that at least fit with what was happening in music news at the moment. And then on Sunday, we all get together at about 10 in the morning. We practice the song in our own studio, and we record the audio, mix down a track, and then we do playback and do a video of it, and then we edit the video and put it up on YouTube by the end of the process.
Wow, that simply blows me away.
It was kind of a challenge to do it, but it's fun. It's fun to do.
Now, talk to me about being a female-fronted band.
Well, female-fronted bands are, you think you know them all, right? You think, oh yeah, you see female-fronted bands all the time, but I'll tell you, less than 5% of all rock bands are female-fronted. So it's a little challenging. We've got some big shoes to fill, like Joan Jett and Stevie Nicks and Blondie. I mean, there's tons of huge names, Hole. There's tons of huge names that were female-fronted bands. The Bangles. But in this day and age, most bands are heavily male-driven or male-led. So being a female-fronted band can be a bit of a challenge. But we love it. We see it as an opportunity to just rock the world a little bit differently, push it to a little different level, and we've got some great influences there to sort of guide us and show us the way. Just watch, what happened with Joan Jett. If you watch her documentary, Bad Reputation, she basically just bulldozed her way and stayed true to herself and did her music the way she wanted to do it, and she's one of the most influential female rockers on the planet.
Yeah, I certainly agree. Now, tell me about the music scene in Toronto.
Toronto's got a vibrant live music scene. We've got over 200 live music venues in the Greater Toronto area, which is anything from a 12-seater, hole-in-the-wall, bring your acoustic guitar and jam, to the Opera House, which holds 900 people, the Phoenix, which holds about 1,500, the Danforth Music Hall, which is, 3,000, 4,000, all the way up to like the Air Canada Centre, which is like 10, 15,000 people. So, but the music scene, which is the downtown music scene, every 2 feet there's another live music venue here. So we have a super vibrant music scene. I would say there's probably 20 big name venues that if you were an artist down here that you want to get through, that house anywhere from 100 to 250 people. And if you can make your way through those, then you've got enough experience, I think, to play anywhere in the world.
I would certainly agree. Now, can you tell me about one of your earliest memories involving music?
When I was about 10, my mom bought me a guitar and sent me down the street to my friend's dad's house. He taught music, and he taught me how to play Mary Had a Little Lamb on the guitar, which I thought was absolute crap. Like, if this is what playing a guitar is all about, forget it. Not interested. And so I told my mom, I'm going to go to about 3 lessons just to learn where the notes are, because the dude doesn't want to teach me how to play chords. And when I watch TV, they're playing chords, Mom. So I remember putting my fist up at my mom and saying, no way, I'm going to learn how to play guitar on my own, which I did. After those 3 lessons, that was it for me. I think she bought me a book, because there's no internet back then. I think she bought me a book, and I just looked at the chord charts, and she bought me some music books, which were like Simon and Garfunkel and Rumors from Fleetwood Mac, and who else was it back then? Oh my gosh, the Indigo Girls. And I just started learning songs where I'm like, Mary Had a Little Lamb? This is not guitar, thank you very much.
Now, what music or artists influenced you growing up?
Well, a lot of the music that probably influenced me were the music that my mom and dad liked. So, Mom loved ABBA. She listened to ABBA all day long. My dad had more eclectic taste. So, from my dad, we got The Doors, Pink Floyd, Fleetwood Mac, The Who, Yes, Sweet, Nazareth. My dad was a rocker. He loved classic rock. But he also loved Simon and Garfunkel and some of the folk rock, because he grew up, he was like coming of age in the 60s, 50s, and 60s, so he liked that. But those are probably the ones that influenced me the most as a child. As I got a bit older, I started to get into Joan Jett and U2 and Fleetwood Mac version and Pearl Jam, Coldplay, bands like that. And I think that sort of was alternative rock. So my early days of playing would be mimicking the songs of the alternative rock, but my roots have always been in classic rock. So I find that the stuff that we write lies somewhere in the middle between alt rock and classic rock.
Now, can you describe your first time performing?
Well, I was in concert bands my whole life. So you mean as across the board, like as a rock band, or before?
Well, yeah, but before that, talk to me about your experience being in bands growing up.
So when I was in grade 7, that's when in Canada when you start to play in a band in school. So I picked up the oboe, which I thought wasn't a cool instrument, so I switched to the flute, which I didn't think was cool enough. Then I picked up the saxophone and sort of caught my stride there. And learned how to play drums, guitar, everything sort of during high school. I was one of the band geeks. We sort of had a noon-hour stage band where we played more fun music than the concert band music that we were playing. All the marches and classical stuff was okay. It was interesting, and actually I loved it. But it just, I really loved playing some of the old standards and jazz stuff, String of Pearls, Glenn Miller, all that old jazz band stuff. And from that I sort of got a love of music. My brothers were both in a rock band when I was that age, so they were the ones shredding with their electric guitars in the basement. I wasn't even invited, but it turns out that I'm the only one that's actually, doing rock music these days anyways, out there performing. But performing with a band like a concert band is different than performing on stage as a lead singer of a rock band as an adult, But I remember having my first ad-lib saxophone solo and how nervous I was. I barely didn't even get through it. I was like shaking in my boots. But the first time I ever performed live with Across the Board, my current band, we did our CD release for Jane on Fire. We'd done a few little acoustic gigs, but this was like us, our thing, our original music. And I remember stepping up on stage, and the rest is a blank. I don't remember what happened for the next half an hour. It's just a blank because I was so nervous. We got through it. I got off the stage and I was like, wow, did that just happen? But it's all a blank. It's amazing. That was the only time that ever happened to me. The very last time we performed was, where were we? Oh, a few nights ago we played a place called The Painted Lady here in Toronto for a benefit for Ovarian Cancer Canada. And it was me and a girlfriend of mine from another band, Miss Yali. And we often toured together in the summers. So we did sort of a rock set together. We know each other's music. We did half her music, half my music as acoustic with the drummer. And that was such a, if I try and sort of reflect on how different that is now to where it was in 2016, it's like night and day. Now I can talk to people, I bring people in, I feel like I can, sing to the crowd and talk to them and rouse them up a little bit. Back then it was just stage fright and let me see if I can get through this moment.
And so what do you feel has allowed you to become a more comfortable performer on stage?
Practice. Just doing it. We played 100 shows since we started playing live, and we do live broadcasts every week. We're always making videos. We have 2 rehearsals a week. Just doing it. Just getting out there in front of strangers, in front of people you know. We played a gala a couple weeks ago to, 700 people, all of whom we knew or knew of. And that was a little bit even more nerve-wracking than playing to 100 strangers. So just doing it and going through that whole stage fright moment, and how do you get out of that, and how do you find your stride, and how do you sort of warm up or, before. For me, what I do, just to make sure that I don't lose it on stage, is about a half an hour before our set, I disappear. If we're playing the first set, I won't even appear till after the set. But if we're playing in the middle of a bunch of different bands or at the end, I'll sort of mull around with the crowd a bit and just, talk to people, and then I'll disappear for about half an hour before we start, and just basically wind down, and just get ready, and just like do a little vocal warm up, and just get my brain rested. Sometimes just close my eyes, and I'll just go to the van and close my eyes and just like sleep for 10 minutes, and just sort of get in the zone where I'm not lost in the social world of it, but I just push myself back into the musical performance part of it, and then get up on stage. It's a lot easier that way. I found that out the hard way. Found that out the very hard way, just by letting myself get so tired by the people in the place before we would start playing,
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not a performer, but it certainly sounds like you definitely have a great routine on how to get yourself set before you hit the stage. Now, I
find if you don't do that, you can get overwhelmed, you can get tired, and then I think your performance is affected a bit.
Now, having the experience that you had growing up being in the concert band, and also having siblings that were involved in music, let me ask you, what made you decide that you wanted to be a musician?
I don't think anybody decides that. I think you either are or you're not. Musicians aren't. I don't feel like it's a chosen profession. I don't know. Other musicians might disagree, but I don't think there was a moment in my life after the age of 10 that I wasn't a musician. And even if I have a day job or do some other job, there's always music, and it's always a thing. And it's like I'm driven to do that thing. I think a lot of artists are like this. A lot of writers are like this. It's just, that's what I do. It's not a hobby. It's not a side gig. The rest of it's a side gig. The day job is my side gig. My life, my vocation is being a musician. And it's not a job. It can be a job, and yes, I hope that I can do something I love that would pay me. But even if I didn't get paid, I would still be writing songs, and I'd still be gathering my band together, and I'd still be making videos, and I'd still be producing things, because the end result for me is what's the most exciting. To write that song and feel those goosebumps that, oh my God, yeah, that works, and oh, look at what that sounds like, and let's make it sound better, and let's see what it's going to look like on stage, and how can we make this better, and how can we make people feel something, and what are we saying, what's the video going to look like, and, all of that stuff is just, the passion for it is more, I would say that it would be similar to what a chef does. I think chefs would cook even if they didn't get paid to do it. I think there's chefs out there, and I'm not talking about cooks, I'm talking about chefs. Chefs and musicians are the same. They're creating stuff, they're always trying to make something better, make something from nothing, make it look more beautiful, make it taste more beautiful. And it just so happens that they have to cook for a living, but they're a chef. You could put them in a machine shop, and they'd still be, what do you do? I'm a chef. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's really well said. Talk to me about Jam on Fire.
So Jane on Fire, Jane, Jane, was our very first album ever. Jane on Fire was the first song that I ever wrote for this band, and it was one of the first songs I ever wrote, but it was certainly the first one we ever produced. And Jane on Fire, we live on a street called Jane Street. And Jane Street in our city of Toronto has a rather notorious reputation for being that area where a lot of stuff goes down that you probably don't want to be around after midnight. So one morning, my brother-in-law came up to me and said, Jackie, did you see those 2 cars that are on fire at the corner of Jane and Wilson? Somebody threw in a couple of Molotov cocktails in a couple of cars. I'm like, no way. And he goes, yeah, Jane's on fire, literally. And I didn't even think about the cars. I was thinking, what a great song title. So then I started thinking about Jane Street being a woman and personifying Jane Street into being a fallen woman, because it used to be the area where the immigrants from the Caribbean would come and set up, and they just had a better life than they would have in their third world country. But over the years, over the decades, it's just become more dilapidated and a little bit less of a bright place to come, of a soft place to fall. So the song is all about basically the falling of Jane, Jane being on fire, and Jane being a fallen woman.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's a fun song. We still play it. We still play it at almost every show.
And as a band, you guys have released, is it 3 or 4 albums?
Well, we've released 5 albums now. We're releasing our 6th one next year. We're currently working on it, although we might release the 6th one, which might be an acoustic version of the last one. But the actual next original album will come out in 2020.
And can you list the albums that you guys have released?
Sure. So the first one was Jane on Fire. That came out in 2016. Then we had Amends, which was an EP. That was the first time we worked with our current producers, MC2 Music Media. That came out in 2017. Then in 2018, we released Sonic Boom, which we won a bunch of awards for, and that was the one that we just went down to get some awards at the Grammy Museum in LA for through the Indie Music Channel. And then we released a live in studio album after that, which is basically live off for renditions of our songs without a lot of, basically hardly any editing. So it's just like what you see is what you get, what you hear is what you get. And we did a video series with that too that we're just releasing now. We also did an acoustic series of the album Sonic Boom, which will probably come out as a collection as well. And then we released Wild Ones just on March 22nd, which is our current album that we're promoting right now.
So, I want to talk about the album that you released with little to no editing. I mean, that must be, well, one, it's really brave. I bet it was pretty exciting, but I bet there was also a scary moment in doing that as well. Can you talk about the process and what led you guys to create a project like that?
Sure, and we're actually doing it again this weekend with this new album. Well, we all got together at a place called Trench Studios here in Toronto, set up the drum kit, we let them mic us up, and we just looked at each other and we started playing. And, it's hard I think it'd be hard for a lot of bands and singers and artists to do that nowadays because they have so much backing tracks when they're playing on stage. There are 0 backing tracks in this album. It's just me singing it on guitar. Tasha's got a tambourine and she's singing harmonies. Ben Healy's playing lead guitar. We had Darnell, our current producer, on drums. And we had Andy on bass and Marty on keys. And we just filled in all the music parts that way. And we ran each song 3 times. And we did 3 songs off of our Sonic Boom album. And we just picked the best go of each of those. So it was a little nerve-wracking, a little scary. It turned out pretty good. I was actually impressed. I wasn't sure. Because, I don't know, do I sing in tune all the time? Apparently so. That was new.
I just think that's a really brave concept for an album.
Yeah, we're going to do it again with Sonic Boom. With Wild Ones. We're doing part of the album this weekend. We're doing 3 of the songs as live in studio collection again. So we're going to go back to Trench Studios here in Toronto and recreate that whole thing. So I'm excited.
All right, now talk to me about Wild Ones.
So Wild Ones is the new album that we just released. The whole idea behind Wild Ones is that it's really important to be a lone wolf and do your own thing and have your own thoughts and your own plan, but understand that you need a pack behind you. So each song on the album talks either about the connection between us and our environment, so the wolf and the moon as an analogy, and how the circadian rhythm of the earth really is reflected in the way that we do things every day, all day long. We sleep at night for the most part. We are awake during the day. The cycle of the moon fits with the female menstrual cycle and all that. We think we're not connected to the planet, that we so are. I mean, there's no way around it. We are so connected. But it uses the analogy of the wolf, and having a pack behind you, understanding that we don't always like the people that are around us or feel we need the people, but we do. We need society. We need to get along with each other, and we need to be able to look towards a pack when bad things happen. So the album has 8 songs on it, although only 7 are produced right now. We held back the 8th song because we needed a little clearance for it. We did a little nod to a song that was released back in the 70s. We just have a little nod on purpose to it, and it's going to be released next month. And I'm not going to talk much about it, but if you look for something new on our Spotify channel or YouTube or everywhere next month, it'll all make sense.
Now, what are some of the other songs on Wild Ones?
So there's a song called Calling, which is the slow song, which just has basically me singing and the guitar player. And it's basically about, again, that analogy of the wolf with his pack and the wolf with the planet and the connection. So the wolf is calling to the stars and the moon to pull the sun back up into the sky. So howling at the moon is so that the moon and the stars go away and it's daytime. There's a song called All Gone, which is about how we can't really change those acts of God, the force of the planet, the forces of nature. And it uses the analogy of a tornado or a hurricane or a flood washing through a town, and going back to that town and seeing the remnants of a life and realizing that if you just turn your back for a moment, sometimes the world will just reclaim itself. The earth will just reclaim your stuff. So all this stuff that we are holding on to is fleeting. We're on the planet for such a small period of time compared to how old it is. We're not in charge of the planet. The planet's in charge of us. So for all of those people who think about global warming and us polluting the planet, at some point the earth will reclaim it and all of us. Trust.
Wow, that's a pretty heavy thought.
I know, but that's what it was about. And then there's the song Wild Ones, which is the title track off the album, which is about running and playing with your pack and having fun, because life's short.
All right, now you've recently had some award success. Talk to me about that.
So we just came back from Los Angeles. We won 3 Indie Music Channel Awards, Best Rock Band, Best Rock Video, and Best New Rock Band, because we just joined the Indie Channel last year. And we also recently won a Global Music Award for the Wild Ones album, and we've been nominated for some International Singer-Songwriter Awards that are in August in Atlanta. And we just returned from Edmonton, Canada for the Gospel Music Association Awards. We were nominated for a Gospel Music Association Award, a Covenant Award, even though we're not a gospel band. But our last album, Sonic Boom, had a very positive spiritual message, and I think that's why we got nominated.
And can you talk to me about the music video that you won Best Rock Music Video Award for?
Sure. So that's a fun music video. It's called No Curtain Call. And the idea behind No Curtain Call on the album Sonic Boom was that moment where, as an artist, you are playing your music in a pub or a club or a bar, and you look up and you realize nobody's listening to you, or the lights go on and there's nobody there. It's like, what am I doing this for? And just realizing that you can't be playing music for everybody else. You have to play music for yourself. And it's just a bonus if other people happen to listen to you. And a bigger bonus if they actually dig you and become a fan. And we filmed the music video at a local bikers club, a local chapter of the Unmentionables that I can't mention, that opened up to us and gave us their local biker club to film this. And we basically had all of our musical friends there, and a lot of, high school friends and work friends, making up the characters in the biker bar. And so we had the biker boys, the biker chicks, the bartender, the biker hooker, the geeks, the local starlets, and they're all sitting in the audience, completely ignoring us as me and Ben, my guitar player, sing this song to them with one spotlight. And so smoke is there, and you can see, all of the sort of eerie glow of the place, and us on stage behind this red curtain, and nobody's paying attention to us. So it was quite fun to do.
Wow, that sounds like a pretty creative and really unique concept for a music video.
It was fun. It was fun because we weren't the stars. In fact, I don't even think there's one point in the video where you really see our faces for more than 5 or 10 seconds, me and Ben. It's all about everybody else in the bar. It's super cool. It's called No Curtain Call, and you can find it on YouTube.
Now, speaking of YouTube, I think your band across the board, the way that you guys use social media and use the internet, I think, I'm just blown away and really impressed. So, can you kind of explain your social media strategy?
Sure. So, there's not enough time in the day to be active and effective individually with brand new content for every type of major social media out there. So what we've decided to do is find a way that you can take one piece of content and turn it into something that'll fit multiple different media. So I'll give you an example. If we take our music video, No Curtain Call, so that song, No Curtain Call, becomes an audio video on YouTube with just the album cover. It can become a lyric video that we produce with, however we want to do the lyrics. It can become the actual music video that we did, that's the big production. And it can also become a behind the scenes, like how did we make this music video, as in the form of a vlog. Then it can become a 1-minute clip for Instagram. You can probably do 10 different kinds of 1-minute clips for Instagram with different parts of it. Then it becomes a 45-second clip for Twitter. Then we can format it into several different 15-second stories for Instagram and Facebook. It's a Facebook video. It can be Facebook clips. It can be just pictures, like still shots for Instagram and Facebook. And right now I've already mentioned, about 15 different kinds of content from one song. Plus the song. The song you can throw up on Soundcloud, on YouTube, on, in addition to all the digital places that get it automatically, like when you put it through TuneCore or wherever artists put their stuff, we go through DistroKid. You can, it'll go to iTunes, and it goes to Amazon, it goes to Spotify, Google Play. That's just one thing that happens. But there's other things out there. There's SoundCloud, there's Woozle. There's a bunch of other really cool places where people look for music. So just, you could upload, I would say, I probably could find you 30 or 40 things to do with one song. And that's just one song. You just don't have to put it up on SoundCloud and walk away, or put it up on iTunes and walk away. There's so much you can do. You can do audio bites. You can make jingles out of it. You can do intros and outros and make ringtones with your song. Like, there's so much to do. Then we sat down one day and just figured that out. What can we do with this song? It's a piece of music. What can we do with this to stretch it out across all these different content? And we can do a caravan carpool karaoke with it too, and a sing through Don't even put the, just produce it without the vocals. We can just sing vocals, our own vocals over top of the music. And that's another kind of video right there. So for any musicians listening, there's so much you can do with one piece of content. Don't get frustrated and say, oh, I've only got one song. Yeah? Well, give that song to me and I can tell you 50 things you can do with your one song. Imagine if you had 50 songs.
Absolutely. And you guys just truly get it on how to, promote and create content in order to grow your brand. So kudos to you guys for figuring it out.
Thank you.
Now, let me ask you, being that you are a female-fronted band, what's one piece of advice that you could give to a young female musician or a musician who's just starting out in her career?
I would say don't be afraid to experiment. You don't have to be the musician today that you're going to be in 5 years. It's not a destination, just like anything else. It's the journey. Don't be afraid. If you think you want to be a singer-songwriter with your guitar, go do that. Go play all over the place with your guitar. Write some guitar music. If you see yourself as a metal girl for a huge band with, crazy boys with mohawks and tattoos, then go find your bandmates and get it done. Don't be afraid to try. There's nothing that says that just because you're a girl, you have to do it this way. Because if you look on YouTube or Facebook, you'll see a lot of girls with their guitars. Great. And if that's what you want to do, awesome. But don't be afraid to step out beyond that. Collaborate with other people. Does your neighbor play the saxophone? Do you have somebody that's a drummer in your life? Why don't you put together a little band, see what it looks like? If you've got a band, don't be afraid to play your own music. Don't be stuck playing covers. Covers are great, people love them, but in the end, make your own mark. Don't be afraid to write some tunes and try them out. Don't just keep them in your book and not show them to anybody. Take them out, break them out, do something. That's my advice. Just do it. Nike advice.
And that is certainly some great advice. Now, can you share your social media links?
Yeah, so on YouTube, it's ATB for Across the Board, ATB Music Canada, and that's the same on Twitter, ATB Music Canada. On Facebook, we're Across the Board Productions. So just put facebook.com Across the Board Productions and you'll come to us. It's really hard because Across the Board is a common phrase for Facebook. It's not for bands though. So on Instagram, we're Across the Board Bands. Anywhere on Spotify, Amazon, Google Play, we're the only band that's across the board. You can find us on Soundcloud Across the Board, Reverb Nation Across the Board, Music, and anywhere where fan music is sold.
Now, is there anyone you'd like to acknowledge for offering you financial or emotional support in your music career?
Financial? No, nobody's really helped us financially. We work really hard to make sure that, we do our own thing. We all have day jobs and stuff. Emotionally, for sure, our producers, MC2 Music Media, have been so instrumental in helping us create our sound. Michael Stover from MTS Records has been just a godsend in getting us out to people like yourself. And I'm going to say that my friend Jessica Speciale, who's a fellow musician here in Toronto, has helped me just be a better performer. She's fearless. So I just like watching her, and she's taught me a lot about how to perform. So those are my shout-outs. Thank you.
And is there anything else you'd like to promote or share?
We're going to be on tour this summer, all the way through Ontario and hopefully into Quebec. So just have a look at our website, acrosstheboardmusic.ca. CA is for Canada, not California. Acrosstheboardmusic.ca. And if you're in and around the Toronto, Buffalo area, come out and see us.
All right. Well, I'd like to give a very big thank you to my guests for joining me today here on the Creative Collective. As always, write your comments below. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video. And for all of your promoting,
marketing, and music career consulting needs, email ennisproductions@gmail.com.